Welcome back. In this episode, I want to talk hive placement. This is one of those things that seems simple at first. You think just put the hive somewhere in the yard and that is it. But the more I look at it, the more I realize placement actually matters a lot. Sun, shade, wind, moisture, drainage, traffic around the hive, even how easy it is for you to get in there and work the bees. All of that matters. To help support my channel, please subscribe and like this and all my videos. One of the big questions beginners ask is this: if you had the choice of between full sun and full shade, which one is better? For my setup, so I chose full sun. And the reason is pretty simple. Here in the Fraser Valley, we deal with cold, damp winters and a lot of wet weather. Current beekeeping guidance generally favors giving colonies good sun exposure, especially in the morning, because it helps warm hives sooner and can get bees flying earlier in the day. Drier, sunnier placement is also commonly preferred over damp ground. So when I looked at my options, full sun made more sense to me than full shade. If I lived somewhere brutally hot and dry all the time, I might think about that differently. But for where I am, with cool and damp conditions, I would rather give the hives the benefit of the sun. And in the peak of the heat summer, I can always add a sunshade if I need to. That feels like the better trade-off for me. I would rather start with warm and more sun than just later during the hottest part of the season if the hives need some relief. From what I've learned, the ideal setup for a lot of beekeepers is not really full shade anyway. It is more like good sun, especially earlier in the day, with some relief from extreme heat if your summer gets intense. Several current sources describe the sweet spot as morning sun with some afternoon shade in hotter conditions, rather than deep shade all day. So if the choice is only full sun or full shade, I would take the full sun in my climate. Another part of the hive placement is keeping the hives out of wet, soggy ground. That matters too. Bees can handle cold better than many people think, but damp conditions are a bigger problem than people realize. Keeping hives elevated and slightly pitched forward is a common recommendation because it helps prevent moisture buildup and lets water drain out instead of sitting inside. So for me, hive placement is not just about where the sun hits, it is also about keeping the hives dry, keeping them stable, and putting them somewhere that makes sense through all 4 seasons, not just on a nice day in spring. Wind matters too. You do not want your hive sitting in a spot that gets hammered nonstop by strong winds. Basic apiary guidance commonly recommends some shelter from wind while still keeping the site open enough for sun and airflow. And then there is practical side. Can you get to the hives easily? Can you stand behind or beside them comfortably when you inspect? Do you have room to set things down? Are they out of the main path where kids, pets, or constant foot traffic are going to bother them? Those are all real things to think about, because a hive might look fine in one spot, but if it is an awkward work on every time you inspect it, that matters. For me, I wanted a setup that gives the bees the sun, gave them a drier place to live, and also gave me a workable space to learn, because I am a beginner, and the more beginner-friendly I can make the setup, the better. That is really what comes down to. Trying to make good choice early, even if they are simple choices. So in my case, I chose full sun. Not because I think every beekeeper everywhere should do that, but because for my area, with cold, damp winters, it made the most sense. And if summer gets really hot, I can always put up a sunshade and help them that way. That feels more practical to me than starting them off in full shade all year. So if you are also trying to figure out hive placement, this is how I would think about it. Look at your climate, look at your yard, look at where the ground stays wet and where it stays dry. Look at where the sun hits, look at where the wind comes from, and think about what will make life easier for both the bees and for you. I'm still learning all of this as I go, but that is the choice I made, and that is the reason behind it. Full sun for cooler, wetter months, optional shade later if the summer heat really kicks in. That is the plan. Thanks for following along. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know which team will outperform this year, the green or the red team. This whole journey is me learning in real time, and hive placement is just one more part of the building setup that gives these bees the best chance possible. Continue on following, subscribe. Thank you.